Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Again, this is Dr. Aida and we are going to look again at the salary problem. Only today that this will be a very interesting um, coding to be done because we are going to look at GUI, graphical user interface using Java. Okay, so the idea that I have is to build a window similar like the one that you see on screen. I should have a dialog box with the title salary problem, and I want a label here stating saying enter hours, so user will be able to type in this text field, and once user type in the value of the hours that they work, and user can go ahead and press calculate so that the salary will appear here in this text box. Okay, and as a user I can also choose to clear the button to clear the field here by pressing the clear button. Okay, so basically that is our goal for today. Before we begin with the coding, a little bit on Java GUI classes. Java has two classes. The main class are the AWT package here. We call it the AWT classes, as well as the swing classes. Okay. Now swing classes are generally more richer than the AWT classes. Both classes are designed to build GUI, but the main difference is that AWT is the Java's original platform dependent Windows. It is designed for that, and then Swing was later developed as a kind of widget toolkit that extends from Java AWT classes. Okay, so given the classes, we can see here the container class. And for example, by the way, this is a GUI cheat sheet that I take from Introduction to Java Programming by Daniel Liang. I have comprehensive version. Mine is 9th edition. It is an old version. You can check that book out. I will put in the comment below. And again, back to this cheat sheet. We have GUI container class. What is it for? And then we have the helper classes. If you want to use all the graphics, color, font, these are different class. Okay, so you will be able to find its class diagram for layout manager class or dimension class, font class. You can Google for that. And secondly, once we have the object, Java also have event class. Okay, so event class are classes that we call when we want to associate an event with an object. For example, source object is a button. Okay, a button is made or is developed by creating or instantiating from JButton class. So given a button, when a user click the button, what is it that we want the compiler to do? We want some event fired up. Okay, so this is the event, the name of the event that will be fired up. If let's say we do other things, let's say mouse event, if user press mouse release click, we can release or fire the mouse event. Okay, now that is the event type. We have to declare this event. What is it that they are going to do? And we have to associate with a specific object. Then later, these are the details of the event class that has been shown just now. Basically, if for example we want something to happen when we click a button, when an event happens, the event has to be fired up, and there must be some class that listens, okay, to that event, so that the class who listen, which we call the listener methods, will perform whatever things, the actual things or the actual coding that we want to put when something happen, what will happen when we click on something. For example, in action event, just now will be fired if we press a button. Then inside that action listener class, we will have one method called action perform, and we have to specify what is it to be done. Okay, it sounds complicated, but it is actually very easy. It makes sense. We are able to visualize what is happening when we are designing a GUI interface using Java. Okay, so we'll start with the coding in a short while. Now let's go back to our coding. On the screen here, I have two classes. This is the main class. I name it as salary GUI main, and I have the object class here, salary GUI. Okay, you remember, as in previous example, I can as well put this main method inside my object class, which does not matter, but in this case I want to make it in separate classes. Okay, so basically in the main method, what will happen, this is the place where we have to create or instantiate the object based on the class. So here I'm going to create one object. The name is frame, from the class salary GUI or salary GUI, by calling the no argument constructor of GUI, of the class, of the object class salary GUI. Okay, so this constructor happens to be here, this one. Okay, now before I go into this class and before we start coding, let's go back to the main method. Now I have this object frame. The minimal that I need to do is I need to set the size, the location, and set default close operation. This one, it is already given. That means if we press X, it will automatically exit the system, and we must also set the frame to be visible. Set visible equals to true. So basically these are the 4 lines, minimum 4 lines that you must have in order for you to see your interface. Okay, and I will try to run this. Okay, but really I don't have anything here. Okay, so let's try and compile and execute. Okay, so basically this is the window that I have. 300 pixels, 100 pixels, set location relative to null. It means it will default at the center. Set visible equals to true. It's visible now. If I change to false, then we cannot see, so there's no point of that. And on the third line is exit on close. If I exit, then it will close. Okay, I can also set a title if I want to. Okay, let me just close this off. Maybe we are going to call the set title method, and okay, I will put the salary problem. Okay, all right, so save, compile, run. Okay, this is what I have. So now what I'm going to do is, when I call the no argument constructor here, what I should do, this is where we should put all the buttons that we want, as shown in the scribble just now. Okay, so we have a look again. We have a title here, and then we are supposed to put in our things, enter hours, and then we need a label saying enter hours. Then we need a text box so that user can enter the hours, and then we need another label for salary, and then another text field for displaying the results. And we must have 2 buttons. One is calculate, one is clear. Okay, so this part, the main class, is done. Next, we are going to proceed with the actually building the component inside the window that we have just now. Okay, now we are in salary GUI class. This is the object class. If you see the first three lines, let me on the line numbers. In from line 1 to line 3, we are actually importing all the related classes, both from Swing and AWT class. And we have this is the main class. The name of the class is salary GUI. We must extend the class JFrame. JFrame is already given by Java, so we are going to extend the class JFrame. And the first part here, we will have all the class variables, all the labels, or all the objects or component, not objects, all the component that we are going to need in our frame. Okay, this is the no argument constructor that will be fired up, that will pop up the window that we have. Okay, I already put here whatever that I need, because I don't want to type the whole thing again. I have two label, label 1 and label 2. So the first label is to put enter hours, is a message to enter hours. Label number 2 to state what is the salary. I also have two text field, input and output. This one basically I'm calling the with argument constructor of the JText field class, and the size of that field is 10 spaces. Okay, and I have two buttons, calculate and also clear. So the name of the button is already put here. What you can do is the other, maybe if you like a cleaner look, then what I have here, you can also just declare all your component on top, and then you create down here label 1 equals label 1 equals name. What did I miss? Okay, label 1 equals to new J label. That means we declare the object here, but we actually create the object when we instantiate the salary GUI object later. Okay, it is totally up to you. I'll just make it simple to do it together here. Okay, what happened? Now I already create all the object. I have declared and create. How do I know I have created? Because I have all this new keyword. New means we are going to instantiate or create the object by calling the respective constructor. Okay, so when I already have all the objects, I want to put all the objects on my window, the empty window that we've seen just now. But before that, I want to have a panel. Okay, if you see in line 13, I have one variable, one object. The name is panel, come from the class JPanel. So panel is basically, the idea is that I have a window, and in my window I put a panel. I can put many panels inside, so that it's easy for me to organize and to design nicely my GUI component, so that it will not run here and there. In this case, in this example, I just want to have one panel. Okay, and I'm going to add all other components on this panel before I add this panel to the frame. Okay, you get it? Okay, let's do one by one first. Now I'm going to add label 1. Okay, so I should add label 2, no, label 1, and then I want to add input. It has to be in the sequence, okay, of the design from left to right. So from left we have label 1, and then the text box on the right, and then we have label 2. Okay, and then remember we have another text field, output, which is to display the variable output, and then we have buttons. Okay, I'm going to add my button. What is the name of my button? Calculate. Okay, and clear. Okay, maybe I want the clear to come first and calculate later. Calculate. Okay, so once I have this, then what happened here, I'm actually adding all the component to the panel. Now I want to add the panel to the frame. Okay, I simply add panel to where? To this frame. Okay, so what happened now is that if I save this and I execute, okay, you see this. Okay, what happened here, basically this output, the flow comes exactly as what we put. We have label 1 and then input, label 2 and then output, and then we have clear, and then we have calculate button. Now the area has been fixed according to the main method, which is 300 by 100. Okay, but it is actually flowing, if you see. So if we resize, it flows, and this is not good for an interface. We don't want interface to move around. Okay, so what we can do is that we can use one class called the layout class. Okay, I can set that layout on the panel. So panel dot set layout, and you can read more on the layout class in Java. There are a lot of it, flow layout, grid layout, but now I'm going to use grid layout, and then we have like 3 rows, I think, and 2 columns. Okay, all right, let's try that. Okay, now the look makes sense. Okay, you can try other layout with this class later. Okay, now, so the first part on the component, designing the component, we are done. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to add the event. For example, if I click on the button, I want something to happen, not like what we have now. Let me run that again. Okay, if you notice, I can enter values here. I can even enter value here. Why? Because these are text field. We are supposed to be able to enter anything. But if I press clear or calculate, nothing will happen. Why? Because we have not associated any action to be taken with the button. Okay, now with the button. So where we want to put it? We actually want to add a listener to both button, calculate and clear. But let's do the easy one, which is the clear button. Okay, so I'm going to get that clear button. Okay, clear, and we are going to call the method add action listener. Okay, and we are going to create we are going to call the listener class, new clear. Okay, now this clear class is a private class that I will add myself. There is another type of implementation whereby you can straight away put in the implementation of your listener class inside here, but for the sake of easy viewing, so I'm going to add a new one, but it has to be a private class. Okay, it must be able to it must be able to access, it should be able to be accessed only by this class. So private class clear, okay, implements action listener. So if you remember, extends is a keyword to show inheritance, the concept of inheritance in Java. Implements is for interface in Java. Okay, so I have these two, open, close, and what I want to do is I just want to clear both text boxes. So input dot set text, I will call the method set text. Basically, I just put an empty value there. Okay, and then this one for output set text. Okay. Oops, sorry. I actually need a method action perform. Okay, so within that private class, this is called a private listener class. It is a listener class. How is it a class? Because we use the keyword class here. It is a listener because it implements the action listener class. And within this listener class, we must have the method public void. I think the name is action perform. Okay, and this is the event. Okay, let me close that. Alright, so what happened is whenever user click on the clear button, it will create, okay, the object, the listener object, by calling this, by creating this clear object, and implements the listener class, whereby we will execute these two lines, the action perform. So let's try that. Okay, so what happened here, if I press and if I put in any value, I click calculate, nothing happened because we have not done anything to that yet. But if I press clear, both are clear. Okay, all right, now that is the first part. Now I need one more, which is for the calculate button. Calculate dot, I just copy this action listener, but then I need a new listener class specifically for calculate. I don't want, you can share if you have the same thing, if both button is designed to react or to perform the same thing, should be no problem. But this is two separate things. So I'm going to add here private class clear. No, this is a new listener class. This is for calculate. Okay, so what happened here is we want to actually perform the calculation. Okay, so the first thing is we need to take the value from the text field, and we must store in some temporary variable. I don't know, I just put temp equals to input dot get text, right? Why is it input? Because that is the name of our component. This is not the input class, this is not the input from the scanner class. Get text. Okay, so I'm going to call what? I'm going to call the the method, the get text method for the component. What is it? The text field. Okay, so the next line, after I get it, I'm going to convert that value, because if I enter any value in that text field, it will be stored as text. This is string. Okay, so now I want to convert into hours. Okay, double equal, okay, then I'm going to call the method double dot pass double. What do I want to convert? I want to convert the value of temp. So if I enter here 100 hours, it will be stored in string first, then I want to convert that 100 string into 100 hours. Okay, so after I convert, now only I can calculate. So hours times period. I don't know, I just put 4 ringgit and 50 cent this time. Okay, and then after I calculate, I want to send this value salary where? To that output text box. Okay, output dot set text. We need to convert the number salary back to string. Okay, so we are going to call the toString method from the class double toString. What did I want to convert? Sorry, this is salary. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so if I enter 40 hours, I click clear, nice. Sorry, so I do 40 hours, click calculate. There, we have the output stored in here. Okay, so you can again, if you want to format this into number of decimals, that should be no problem. So you should be able to do that as well. Basically, that is the basic thing about GUI. It's very easy. It is very structured. I know there are a lot to code, especially when you are doing it for the exams, but trust me, it is easy. It is very structured, and you can actually visualize things, what exactly that you need to do. Okay, so first, most important thing, you need your object class that extends JFrame, because we are going to use a lot of the component. And we want to add the component inside the frame, and you declare all the class members, class variables, and then you start adding. You start adding all the component on your panel, add the panel on your frame. And you must also add all the actions, all the listener classes together. You must associate all these actions with the button that you wish to do. If it's a mouse, then it is a mouse action, does not matter. Okay, so all this will happen when we create the object in main here. Okay, because we are going to call the no argument constructor of salary GUI. This is what will happen. So the first time compiler create this object here, it will actually fire up all this. Okay, then later when user click on a certain component that you already add the listener class, it should go to here. Remember, these are called listener class. It is not outside this class, that's why it is private. It must stays inside this object class, not outside. Okay, but it is not a method, it is a class, because this is a method, and this method will be inside this private class. Okay, so basically that's it. Thank you.